Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the LA Poker Roundup. This is episode 8. It is October 24th, 2023. I am your host, Ty Dobberton, along with my co host, Derek Kwan.
What is up, everyone?
Hey, and today we've got a great show lined up. We are going to start out by going over some of the results from around LA this week, including a ton of results from the bike.
And then we're also going to recap the 150K guaranteed mystery bounty of the bike that had a 14K overlay. What went wrong?
And then after that, big news. The schedule for the next series in town, the Commerce's LA Poker Open, is out. They have not released a lot of details, but the schedule is out, so we are going to go over and preview what's coming up on that schedule.
And on that schedule is an exciting $1,200 main event. So for our strategy corner, we're going to talk a little bit about you just want a satellite into a bigger buy-in. What do you do now?
And then we'll close out, as always, with our weekly roundup, talk about what's going on this week that you ought to play and what we are going to be playing. All right, so let's start out with some results from around town. We'll start out with some dailies, a couple shout-outs to some local grinders that are just killing it lately. First up, my man Donald Bolt here. He had a pretty big week in the dailies out there in the streets. First off, on the 19th, October 19th, we had... he was part of a four-way chop over there at, I believe, the Gardens. And then on the 23rd here, and I believe we'll see his name later, he did a chop at the Bike, one of their one-day events for a five-way. So congrats to Donald on those.
Good job, Donald. I feel like he just went deep in something because we talked about him last week, didn't we?
Yeah, and last week, yep, he's been on fire the last few weeks. Last week he did final table chop at the Gardens again last week, and I think last week it was also at Hollywood Park with Cedric. So those bad beat blocker boys are starting to rack up. Look out in those dailies, man. You see someone with that hat. Also, last week, another big week, we had Mr. Sang Park here. I don't know, he may just be the king of Gardens dailies. That WPT passport events coming up, and I gotta say, I will be surprised if he doesn't have a massive starting stack. I'm a little afraid to see what he's gonna start with that day.
I feel like this guy is coming up every single time, Kevin. You got to get this guy on the front page of the website.
Yeah, he's gonna be the official end boss over there. I mean, and he's always smiling. I love playing with this guy. 4 straight final tables at the Gardens this week. I mean, come on,
that's crazy.
And 3 of them, he was. I mean, move over Jeremy Becker, right?
Jeremy Becker, yeah.
Got to get a little heads up going there. All right. So let's move on over to the Big Poker October, though, the bigger tournaments at the Bike. So another guy who is just crushes these single days, I tell you. October 20th. So this was the Friday single day event, the 30K guarantee, ended in a 3-way chop with Daniel Higginson taking the top spot there. And I tell you, this guy in the last series, he final tabled, I think, 3 of these things, and he has a closet full of the Bike hoodies that they gave out at those final tables. He had so many, he was just giving them away to anybody. It was crazy. So congrats to Daniel. Also in the top Daniel. 3 there, Ming Li and Ba Min Tran, another regulars. I played with them all weekend. Played with these guys all weekend out there, and let's see. So we'll try and zip through these things. We have a lot of results. So congrats to Daniel. And then on Saturday, the 150K guaranteed event, which was actually more of, would we get to 200 and say here? No, it got over 200K in the prize pool, though. That was a very big event. We have Mr. James Lisi with the high score there with the big chop. So it looks like the final 6 decided to chop on that event. So James, my buddy guy I play with a lot here, Jeremy Mintz, he was in that chop as well, so congrats to him. Also in that chop, we've got John Rudy, Jamie Dalpoon, Scott Laser, and Song Yoon Sen. So congrats to all those guys. Congrats to all those guys. And then we have on Sunday, the 40K guarantee, Mark Maxey. He did not chop. They played it all the way to the end, which is, kudos to Mark. That doesn't happen very often.
Good for you.
And congrats, Mark, taking first place, the full amount, 13,745. Second place, Hirotaka Fujita. Let's see, Hosin Debo Zorgi. Sorry if I'm messing these names up. Fourth, we got Bazad Javadzadeh, and then fifth, and Ki Hong Lu. So congrats to everybody on that event. I think I played 2 hands in that event, and that was that. So, um, moving on to Monday, we had some more events going on. The 20K guarantee on Monday. Another super reg, Stefan Bean, a real.
Stefan.
Yeah, Stefan. He fires in everything, man. I think I played with him 3 or 4 times this weekend at the same table. I love playing with Stefan. He's a fun guy, big action.
He's a grinder, man. He's there for everything.
Yep. I think he got a ring last December, right? And
nice.
Bang, here he is, taking first place in this guy. It was a 5-way chop at the end of this one. So congrats,
there's
Stefan.
Mr. Bolt again.
Yep, Mr. Bolt. This must be the one he was talking about. Finished in that chop. Yep, 5-way chop. So way to go, way to go. And also on Monday in this series started the mixed games for the week. So this week's a big mixed game set of events. So there was a Omaha 8 Big O event. So it looks probably 4 and 5 card big Omaha 8. Or maybe it was just 8. I didn't play it. So congratulations. It looks like the final 3 chopped evenly. So congratulations to Michael Fujimoto, Ari Engel, and Am Bloom, all chopped evenly. That's right. Ari decided to make a stop in here from winning all his circuit rings. There must not be a circuit event going on this week because we got the man in town, and he decided to just casually come in and chop up first in this guy. So I'm guessing he'll be sticking around to play some more of these mixed events. So look out, look out. And then finally on Monday, the last one-day event, we have results from. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, it's not quite a one-day event. The last event for Monday we have results from is the first day of the 1K, the 200K guarantee that finishes up this next weekend. And in the first flight, there were 32 players, which put exactly 4 people through. And wow, I'm pretty happy for him. But man, we talk about him a couple times now. Bill Klein. Resident, play absolutely everything from a 250K to a 250. He's leading the first 4 in there. He's got 500,000 chips. So right now, Bill's the one to beat.
Absolute joy to have at the table. Good, solid player, and obviously plays all the high rollers out there on Poker Go. So kind of awesome to have him there, and I can't wait to get myself out to this event and start butting heads with all these guys.
Yeah, me too, absolutely. And they have satellites going on every afternoon for that too, every evening, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get a little further into the episode, and you can talk about some strategies if you happen to win one of those guys, because it's a good way to get in cheap. Speaking of that, though, I did put in some time this weekend. I did play some events. You manage to get out to the table this weekend, Derek?
I did. I played the 150K on Saturday and then did a little bit of online grinding on Sunday.
Okay, how'd it go for you in the big one, the 150K?
The 150K, I just min cashed, squeaked into the money. Actually built a pretty big stack and then had a couple unfortunate hands go my way, but there was a really funny one like right before the bubble where somebody had raised in the cutoff. I decided to 3-bet like half my stack, or a little bit over half my stack with ace queen offsuit.
Okay.
It folded back to him and he really hemmed and hawed before he just basically slammed all his chips in there and then flipped his cards over because he thought that I had gone all in when I hadn't.
Really?
And then he quickly flipped them back over again, but he had flashed ace king.
Oh boy.
And then I was like, oh man. So now I was kind of getting the odds to call against that range, but now not against ace king. And I ended up just like folding my hand, and then I squeaked into the money after that. But that was a pretty funny story, that his mistake, and obviously he didn't mean it. Got me a small cash.
Of course. Hey, well, every little thing, he did you a favor there. Let you at least get a little bit back, a little bit back. That reminds me of a funny one from the other week. I think I forgot to mention the story, or maybe it was the wrong timing. Right near the money, right after the money bubble, I believe, of the opening event of the Big Poker October, that quantum, we were playing, and this woman got moved to our table, and she only played maybe 2 or 3 hands in the hour and a half before this hand happened, and it just so happened all of them were really big hands. So we get into a hand where she raises in like the cutoff. I defend my big blind with jack something suited, and the flop comes out, ace queen jack, 2 clubs, check check, turn king, check check, river 10, both of clubs. So now it's 10 jack queen king of clubs out with an ace. I check, and she's just like disgusted and just throws her hands down on the table, and everyone at the table starts pointing. We're like, you have a royal flush, why are you checking? What's going on?
Did she not know?
I don't think she knew. I think you know what happens sometimes is you flop like the nuts and the board comes out, it comes out 4 to straight, and you're just so frustrated. You're like, I had the top set and it's gonna be a chop, right?
That's
And
hysterical.
I think she just didn't even look, and she just threw her cards down, and it was hilarious because Sammy, Sammy the dealer who also won the mini mega last year, or was it even this year? He was sitting right to my right, and when he saw that, he looks and he points. He's like, "Wow, ma'am, I know Ty, so I know that you're not colluding. But if I didn't know him, I would call the floor over. That's a penalty."
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to get the royal flush, and you definitely should be betting it. But it just it sucks that she didn't actually see what the board was. But I'm guessing that you probably weren't gonna call.
I was gonna fold. Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
about bluffing the river, but I wasn't gonna call. That's for sure. I
Would have been
definitely
funny
wasn't
if you
going to
had
call.
gotten the bluff through because
I
she
know if she
was
didn't
yeah
look. Oh, if she was just so
right
frustrated,
or
she threw it in.
right
Oh, that would have been insane. I would have never gotten to know, but that would have been insane. What do
yeah.
you even do if she says I fold and throws it face up? Like, what do you even do in that situation, right?
I
Like,
mean,
that
at
would be
that point,
so
you have to
sick.
say to the dealer like muck the hand,
You'd be
right?
like, take it,
Muck
take
the
it.
hand, push that
Yep.
into the muck.
But just in case anyone was wondering, actually, that checking the nuts in position is no longer a automatic penalty under TDA
Oh,
rules.
what?
It's kind of discouraged, but it's not an automatic penalty. It may be a
When did they
penalty
change
in
that?
like World Series play because I think they say they use TDA with their own, with whatever they want on top of
Flavor,
it.
yeah.
But yeah, because this actually happened at a tournament like last year or something over at the Gardens, and Cavan is on top of that TDA rule, so it's not an official penalty. But you should still bet the
Hmm.
nuts when you're in position. I mean,
Yeah, and you know what? I think most of the times when somebody checks back the nuts, I'm going to say 99% of the time it's because they just didn't understand. Like either they misread their hand or they just didn't understand.
yeah, of course, of
So
course.
yeah, yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, and one other thing from that event there. Thanks, Xander, for reminding us. Mr. Rampage Poker, Ethan, actually entered that 150K right near the end.
What?
Did you see? Did
Really?
you see him? Yeah, he entered. I saw. My friend pointed it out, and I saw it. He had a story up on his post. He had entered, and
Oh, that's
actually,
interesting.
Xander's saying he min cashed. I thought that he was out quick. I didn't think he min cashed, but Xander's saying he min cashed. I could have swore I saw a story on his up on his Instagram where he was walking out of the room before the money was made. But maybe he min cashed. That's nice.
Well, that's kind of yeah. He plays a lot of high stakes now. So interesting that he jumped into that. I guess he had anything else to
Yeah,
do
he
on a Saturday.
must have been in an area. Must have just been in the area for something else. Is he playing Hustler this weekend or something?
Yeah.
Um, I so for my weekend, I played every day. I wasn't sure if I was gonna play on one of the days, but you know me, I ended up going. Friday, I headed down to um, Friday, I headed down to actually went to Hollywood Park to pick up a couple issues of the card player that my article's in before they go out of circulation because I
Nice.
don't know where else to pick those things up. So thanks to my buddy David down there who held on to those for me. But then I went over to the Gardens to pick up a couple extra points for that WPT satellite coming up at the end of the beginning of next month. I
Nice.
was actually a little annoyed because I did my math. I went there the other week. I sent you the picture of how many points you had. I think you had like 21, right? I had I had um 28 or 38 or something, and then I played what I thought was enough to get 2 points last time, but you get another 1,000 chips if I could just get one more point. So I went down there to play and I checked the list again, and I was already at that threshold. I was already at 31. So I'm like, oh, why did I drive all the way down here? I didn't need to do that.
So now you got to go to the next level.
I know, right? So
It's
I
the
mean, I
cost.
almost did. I fired two bullets in down there, busted those, drove back to the bike, played in that Friday 30K, busted that, decided to play the Survivor, and we actually chopped that up. Another person outside the money because it's getting kind of late, and I think I basically broke even on the day. Maybe I made like 300 or 400 bucks. So that was
It's
nice though to get my back. And then
better than losing, I guess.
yeah, absolutely. I say I hate survivors, and I do, but I just when the bike runs their series, they run one every night. So if you don't go deep, it's just like there's nothing else to
It's
do.
just there. Yeah, it's
So I
just there
just
for you.
I just play them. It's kind of like I don't know. I guess it's just I'm a degenerate, it's just an addiction. Um,
Yeah.
I did go and play the 150K as well. Last week during the 150K, I fired four. That was last week, right? We fired four bullets apiece, I think, right? Yeah. So
Hmm.
last week I fired four bullets. Slightly better than min cashed on the last one there. So this week I decided to smarten up. I went a little late so that I couldn't fire as many bullets.
Smart.
It wasn't
Smart.
really smart. I busted in two hands.
Oh,
So then I got in my second bullet. The second bullet went fairly well until Reg ended, and then I just kind of sat there and didn't make the money. So, but still, I basically finished this about the same as I did when I cashed, right? So,
Yeah.
I did not play the Survivor that night. Next day, came back, also late regged. I max late regged the Sunday tournament. I didn't actually even play two hands. I sat there. I folded. Lost half my stack to a short stack, and then lost the next hand. So I was out of that. So I played the Survivor. But in this Survivor, for some reason, I went from not winning a single hand to winning literally the first six hands.
Nice.
Won the first six hands, went from 30K to about 90 or 100K in the first six hands, and basically just coasted all the way to the end there. So I
nice.
did get that. Yep. So I did get that money, and so I actually had a positive weekend at the bike. But
just
a lot of hours.
if you cash a Survivor, it's a lot of money.
Yeah,
so.
that's really what they do. Is just the survivors are there to save your weekend, right?
It's like a bankroll. It's like a bankroll saver.
Yep. We got Wayne in the chat here. It looks like he was in that 150K, I assume. So I guess for his last hand, he min raised his ace queen suited instead of shoving 10 bigs, and he got looked up by queen deuce, and that was it. Flop ace deuce deuce.
It's okay to get cute with hands when you're a little bit short stacked. Although I think I probably jammed ace queen and maybe like min raise like a jack 10 offsuit or something in late position.
Yeah, he was under the gun +1 actually. So,
but I don't think you can ask for a better spot than somebody calling you queen deuce. Sometimes it doesn't go your way.
Yep, you just can't get them all for sure. All right, so that's how our weekends went. So we did leave out one tournament from our results, the biggest tournament from the weekend or from last week, which was the Mystery Bounty. So let's go over the results of that real quick and then talk a little bit about some of the problems that they had, the bike had. So first off, congratulations. Oh, I'm gonna have to start the video again. I forgot I was in the wrong content. Hold on a second. We have video. Probably won't be able to hear it. All right. Congratulations to Mr. Tigran Abgarian for pulling the 25K.
He's another reg. He's always in a lot of tournaments.
Yeah.
And he busted in 21st, and he hit the 25K on the bust out.
So
nice cash.
by pulling that, he actually won first place, because first place in this tournament was actually won by Peter Cross, but first place money was 23,000. So, I mean, I think Tigran actually won this event.
He did. Good job, buddy.
But congrats to everyone. Congrats to Peter Cross. Peter in second place, Ryan Gomez. He has 30K, so I guess they added his bounties in there. So,
yeah, Peter, I mean, I know of him, and I hear people say a lot of good things about him, that he's a really good player. I actually haven't played with him that often. Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more of him.
Yeah, it seems like he's been doing pretty well.
Yeah, so he's been having a pretty good year, including the end of last year. His biggest score to date, massive score, was in this 2000, looks like a 3K at the WPT series last December, and he shipped it down at the Win for 429,000.
Wow, that's a big score. Nice.
Yeah, so that really got things going, and also he had a good run, I believe, at the World Series main. Let me see. I think he had a good run at the main. All right. Oh, it was this ring event. Sorry. So here at the ring event earlier looks like the winning on the green event. He got third for 50K here at the bike as well. So he's definitely been playing here, and that, if I recall, was one of the weekday events. So you and I wouldn't have been there. But so maybe that's why we don't get to play as much. Seems like, since the score gets to play more in the weekdays. But congrats to him. Way to go, and it looks like he's having a great year or two here. So we'll definitely be seeing more of him. So the other big story from the Mystery Bounty, though, was that there was about a $14,000 overlay on this 150K prize pool.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's almost 10% overlay. That's pretty big. And honestly, it's been a little while since any of these multi-day events have overlaid that I can remember. Can you remember when the last time?
No, I mean, we are in the middle of that poker boom, and I feel like people can just set their guarantees as high as they want. They're usually going to hit them. So
it feels like it, right? Now, I want to say, big props to the bike for, they always honor their guarantees. They paid the 14K without question, without any problem. But I think it's worth it to take a look at with the poker boom that we were talking about. Assuming it's real, uh, which I really think it is. What went wrong here? Like, why weren't they able to get this? Mystery bounties are really popular, right? Everyone loves a mystery bounty. Um,
Yeah,
so
mystery bounties are usually the most popular events, but again, I feel like just running these things during the week is not a good idea. I mean, put these bigger events on the weekends. This is where what everybody wants to play.
absolutely. So number one, I agree with you. I think the number one problem with this event, and the schedule being what it was, is exactly what you said. This event, the day two was on Friday. All the flights Monday through Thursday. I mean,
Yeah,
who did
I
they
mean,
think is going to play this thing,
what
right?
did you expect to happen?
Yeah, who's going to play? Who can play? I couldn't play.
Right.
You couldn't play, and that's
Nope.
that's like six bullets right there. They kept from having, right?
I know. You get me in there. You get me and Ty in there. You're gonna double your prize pool.
Absolutely. And like I know, and I know Fausto has been really a big advocate for this, and was putting it up on Twitter and Instagram on Friday when Fausto and I started talking to him. We actually, because of that, Fausto was able to start convincing them that they needed to move the day two for this week's 1K to Sunday so that they could have that Saturday day one. And I
Yeah.
chimed right in. I jumped right in on that, and we were really kind of, very nicely but persistently telling them they really needed to make it Sunday. I mean,
I mean, I would like to understand their logic as to why. I mean, there must be a reason because they're very consistent with it. They're always landing things on awkward days, so
yeah,
that
I,
there
I
there
don't
must
get
be a
it.
reason behind it. But I don't. It's not apparent to me.
So, so I guess from a like a min, if I'm sitting there and I'm trying to min max as a business, I guess one kind of cynical reason I could give is maybe these one days are just a much higher kind of ROI
That's
for
the
the house, and they
that's the only thing I can come
and
up
they
with
try
is
and
just
have
that you
them.
have so many people come out. It's only one day that you have to have like staff there, right, and you get it all done. So
Yeah.
that it just seems like a per player rake number.
Yep. Because
It
when they
seems pretty
run
high.
that $400 entry 150K guarantee, I'm not sure if it changed, but I was surprised when I looked at the sheet. The rake's actually kind of high for that. The
Yeah.
rake on that was, I think, upwards of 80. I thought the rake would be like 60, or I feel like it should be 50, but I think the rake on that was upwards of 80
Mhm.
altogether, which was that was surprising.
Yeah, I mean, if you're targeting a tournament at a lot of amateurs, they're not looking closely at the rig, and maybe they just don't even care, right? So they're gonna just come and play it anyway. So,
Yep.
yeah, maybe I mean, I'm hoping that's not the reason why, but yeah,
Yeah, like I said, that's kind of the cynical answer. Now, um, I think there are other things that made this event more challenging. One thing that really surprised me was it has kind of a quantum structure, except there's no day two quantum buy-in, which makes sense. I think that would be a mistake for Mystery Bounty for sure.
yeah,
But what the heck? Why then did they make it so confusing to have different flights with different buy-ins with different bagging requirements? Like, what was the point of that? And the buy-ins aren't even really that wildly different, right? It was 560 and $300, right? So I'm
yeah.
not so certain that a lot of people that would play the 300 wouldn't play the 560, or like if you just made it a 400 or 450, that everyone wouldn't just play that was gonna play. Why add that extra layer of complexity, right?
Yeah, it really just did feel like they were thinking through the structure and then just kept making a decision after decision without going back and looking at the big picture and maybe just throwing this thing out there because it's like when you follow the logic a little bit, it makes sense. It's like, well, you don't want people to pile in like 4 bags worth of chips into a mystery bounty, so maybe we just cut them off at the second bag and give them a bonus instead, like we do for the quantums. But then that just super complicates things. Yeah, it's just like you said, it's really confusing.
Yeah, like they made this very confusing so that a lot of people, I know from some of DJ's more strange, not strange, but more out of the box ideas.
Those are,
Once
I mean, they're creative, right? Like
they
that's
they
creative.
are, but what I know from
Yeah,
them is no matter how fun I think they are, if the extra rules or changes are more than like one sentence, people are just automatically turned
confused.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
yeah,
like, I don't understand it. I'm not going to play.
yeah.
So, and people are a bit used to the quantums, but not really a quantum-ish big bounty, right? Or mystery
Yeah,
bounty. And
yeah.
you kind of just alluded to it right now. I think another big problem was the multi bag, right? I think some of the feedback that DJ got for the bounty multiplier, which was a multiple bag, combine your bags kind of tournament, was that people didn't like that idea. All of us who can only play one or two flights tops, that's kind of
Yeah,
not intimidating, but it makes us feel like we're at a disadvantage, right?
yeah. Like I think that I mean, it's more usually more a function of it being in the middle of the week is why I'm not going to play. But certainly, knowing that I only get one shot at it, while other people might get four or five, even if it's not like that frequent that people are like double or tripling bagging, it's definitely something of a little bit of a disincentive even for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I honestly I think that was kind of a double whammy for them because if I could have played on Thursday or if you could have played on Thursday, you have to have that in the back of your mind. Well, some people, I think only one person did, but well, some people could be double bagging and they're going to have a chance to get twice as many chips as I have, right? So
Yeah,
it's bad for us. But on the other side, with it being kind of a quantum setup where when you bag, you get would they get $400 back? Yeah, when you bag, you
yeah,
get $400 back. If you triple bag, you get 2,000 back. We'll get to that in a second. But that second bag, you get no extra money. You just get $400. So that means I played, I bagged. Now I'm going to play again and try and bag again, which is already really hard to do. And if I do so, I still don't make any money. I just get that $400, right? So why did I do all that effort and
yeah.
risk just to get some more
Well, I mean,
chips, some
I
more
mean, I guess
chips,
that,
right?
yeah, I guess the target there is just that you're trying to go after more chips, so the bike must be thinking that that's higher value too, to be able to just like stack up like big stacks and carry them forward.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that's technically your compensation.
Yeah. And I see where that would be the thought, right? But let me know if you think I'm off here. But I think that let's just say, and this isn't the case, right? But let's just say, every time you do happen to bag, it's going to be an average stack, right? So if I bag an average stack and I go forwards and I say I want more chips, and I bag again, I get my average stack. Well, I basically am two people making it through day one, right? But my day two value is now it should be kind of my ICM value, right? So,
Yeah,
but I'm not my ICM value. If I'm two independent people with that average stack, if you added their value together, right, that's a higher number than if I take their stacks, combine them, and then just say what's that one person's value, right? With double average stack at the beginning of the day, what's the value of
well,
his
yeah, I
stack?
mean, yeah, with ICM, it's always going to be the more chips that you accumulate, the less value they're going to have. So
Exactly.
yes, yep,
So you're really like getting that second bag is not worth as much, but you're taking the same amount of risk, right?
yeah.
So that is kind of I think people kind of felt that, right? Like I'm not going to spend
Mhm.
like I'm not going to buy in 3 or 4 more times just to maybe get in one more time and only get that 400 back and then I
Mhm.
still only get some more chips, right? Even with a bunch of chips, I'm not guaranteed to pull
Yeah.
the big bounty, right?
I'm not sure if people are thinking through value that way, but maybe they're intuiting it. I don't know, but
Right, that's what I mean. Like
I
it just
mean,
feels bad, right?
yeah,
To enter
yeah,
3 more times and only get 400 back, and then say you still don't get a huge stack, you're still
yeah.
middling, right? It's like, well, what did you just do, right?
You know what though? I'm all for the operators experimenting to try to build these big prize pools because the quantum was a big experiment that worked out, right? So even all the complaints about, all the day one money getting taken out, you're just getting huge prize pools that you wouldn't get elsewhere. So just it seems like maybe the chips forward thing isn't working out as well as maybe just the payouts. So maybe just go back to the simpler payouts to get more people to come. But yeah, it's encouraging that
Mm-hmm.
some of these structures are building bigger and bigger prize pools. But yeah, let's not make it confusing like this because obviously combined with the fact that it was a midweek tournament, it
Yep.
may cause you to miss your guarantee.
Yeah, absolutely. And the kind of the last thought on that is that the people who play these quantums and I hope that they do remember that for the future, right? And I think DJL they'll remember people don't seem to like this combine your stack thing around here, right? At least not the way it's been presented so far. And then the last thing is the people who are used to playing these bounties or these quantums, they're used to their second bag or their extra bags being worth a full kind of basically a full ICM value amount, right? Like in a quantum,
Mm-hmm.
it's the full day two buy-in you get back, right? Which is
Yep.
like the amount of value an average stack would bring in to the next day, right? But here, the third and on bag, you're not getting what you would expect it to be because they're keeping all the bounty money in the pool. You only got 2,000, right? So based on the number of people going through and the buy-in, really you should have been getting a $4,000 payout for that one. And
Mm.
also, getting those doesn't even give you a mystery bounty pull, which is where all the value comes from. So they would give you 2,000, and where that 2,000 comes from is that's kind of like your share of the prize pool as an extra entry that doesn't get to go. But it's only half because half of the money goes to the prize pool and half goes to the bounty. Well,
Yep.
I mean that's great, but you aren't giving me a bounty, so you're kind of pocketing or putting into the prize pool half of the what you owe me, right? Quote unquote, what you owe me. So I think all of those things just kind of, and like you said, I don't think that people were doing the math that closely, but I don't think it's hard for people who are used to doing a quantum, right? And the math's
Yeah.
easy. Oh, I buy in for 400, 1 in 10 get through. When I double bag, I get 4,000. It's easy, right?
Yeah.
And then
I,
here
I
that
mean,
math
I
is
think,
cut in half.
yeah, I think you're pretty spot on with the math, and everyone should be aware of the math. But I'm also going to say, just, to play the other side, the devil's advocate, I think that's a lot of these little edgy losses in equity for each individual player that's doing X, Y, or Z. It's sort of like the tax to get a bigger prize pool, and it's almost you just take it to get the bigger prize pool that you typically wouldn't get.
Sure,
So
sure.
I think that's just kind of almost like the thesis behind the quantums is like, yeah, maybe you're going to get reamed a little bit if you don't play a lot of flights, but you know what? When you make it to day two, go ahead and find another tournament for $1.5 million in LA. So like these days you can't. So
No, absolutely. I totally agree. And for the upcoming mini mega, I 100% think we're going to see that and agree, and I can't wait for it.
yeah,
But I think in this particular event, doing it this way was, I don't think there's small. I don't think there's
no,
small amounts and small taxes
yeah,
here,
yeah.
because
This one was
yeah,
was very very confusing and also just like not structured well.
yeah,
But you know what? Like this was if this was an experiment by them to see what they could get away with the mystery bounty to try to beef up a big prize pool. Lessons learned. I'm sure they'll do it better
sure,
next time.
sure, yeah, yep. So yeah, and just the final kind of bullet on that is that tax we were talking about before. I kind of laid it out in the math before. It was going to be kind of, around, if you did a direct day two buy-in, it's around $20 to $14 of the 2,100. Not a big deal, right? But here, the tax on the double baggers and triple baggers, it's the full bounty amount because they never gave you a bounty pull. So that's half of it. That's half of the entire value. That's $2,000 per time,
Yeah,
plus whatever ICM loss you would get for that second bag, by not having a second person. So in this particular case, I think the combination of like, and we can just summarize all that in like bad value for playing multiple
yep,
flights, right? So the
yep, yep.
combination of it being during the week and having bad value for playing multiple times, just
Yeah.
I think those were just kind of killers for sure.
Yeah, I actually don't like seeing missed guarantees and overlays, even though it's like nice for the players.
Yep.
It's just not a good look for anything. I'd rather just we hit the guarantees, get people out there. So I'm sure the operators obviously hate paying that out too. But kudos to the bike for honoring the guarantee. But yeah, I'm sure that they're gonna take their lessons learned from this and structure all the future tournaments, better and better like they always do.
Yep. Yeah. I also, I like the rare time you're in the tournament and they miss a guarantee, but long term I hate it as well.
Yeah, it's
it's
bad.
just going to
It's bad for
scare them.
poker.
Yep, it's
Yeah,
just going to scare them into not raising them and keeping them low. And
yeah,
they had another little guarantee this Monday actually. Here in their 20K $250 buy-in on Monday, they had a $1,400 overlay. Not huge, so I think that's 7 players short of the overlay or of the guarantee. And
yeah,
they paid that too, and that's like I said, that's we don't have any kind of problems the way we did with Hustler rug pulling us it was like 4 years ago now, but 3 years ago. But with that rug pull, and they always pay, and that's absolute kudos to the bike. But they did miss on Monday. Now Tuesday they made it by I think 4 or 5 people, so word must be getting out. But these are early in the week Mondays, and I kind of feel like all the people coming out to play on Saturday might have helped fatigue some people that might have come on Monday as well. But yep, there's
yeah,
another little overlay. So
yeah.
yep. So with that in mind, why don't we jump into a little preview of what's coming up at Commerce in November? The Hold'em schedule is out, and I know you were posting to Twitter. You were excited that it's a shorter schedule, but there's some exciting things on it.
Yeah.
And in particular, all of these day twos I see are on Sunday.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I really, really just hope that we continue to just make these give us a day one on Saturday, even if it's only 1 out of the 4 or 5 days, and I can guarantee you that many, many more people will come out. Right. This bike, 1K this week was a 200K guarantee because they added that Saturday. I bet you it'll hit 300K. If the Saturday wasn't there, right? They might have like squeaked over 220, 230 or something like that. Maybe up to 250, but you're going to get over 300K just on that one day alone because you're going to get more people to come out. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that Saturday is going to have upwards of 200 entries.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. I think I think once we convinced them to make that move, they didn't pull the trigger on it until after Fausto left. I think Mo actually gave me a free roll on some sort of bet that we get over that they get over 300, and I think that's absolute That's
Yeah.
absolute money in the bank. It's like a
Yeah,
lock of the century.
I almost still don't get why they almost it was almost like everyone quietly stopped doing it. Like even the Commerce was moving some stuff in the middle of the week, and I was like, why? And I guess it must have been just literally to make room for that Saturday tournament. But really,
Yeah,
like
I don't
just
get it.
I think that if there's so much overlap on the people that would play these anyway, run satellites for them so they get exciting to get into like even a bigger price pool, 200K, 300K, 400K guarantees, right?
Yeah.
Instead of that 100 or 150 on a
Yep.
Saturday. And I'm sure they would love to
100%.
play it. So much exciting, more exciting to play day two too. So yeah, super excited about the schedule, especially that main event. $1,200 day two on Saturday, day three on or sorry, day one on Saturday, day two on Sunday. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, look, operators out there, I don't know who you think plays 1Ks, but it's the bulk of the people. I'm telling you, it's guys
It's
like us.
working
We've
for
got
working people.
jobs. We got jobs. We got an income. We can afford to play a 1K. If you want to put something in the middle of the week, make it a 10K. I'm not gonna just. I'm not. I don't care if I don't get to play the local 10K or whatever or whatever.
Yeah.
That's worth it. But a 1K, it's
And
for
if
us.
you
It's for us. It's for me. It's
yeah,
for
and if
Derek.
you
It's for the guys in chat.
And if you run your Saturdays in the evenings all week on the weeknights, and they're all going to come out on Saturday, where they're going to fill up the room on Saturday, all your Saturday winners. So,
Yep. And you know what? My favorite thing that they did at the LAPC, and I hope they do again this next year, is they also were able to kind of put out a nice big guarantee on one of their larger tournaments because they had a cash promo entry thing going on all month. So they were able to put another 100 players in
yeah,
through the cash
I
room
didn't even
promo.
know what their cash promo was, but I loved it because it was crazy how many people. I was just like, I've never seen these people before. It
Yeah,
was
and
crazy how many people were coming and playing.
yep. So they were able to like it was like put in hours in the cash table, and you'll get it free entry
Yeah,
into like the main event or like the 1400 or whatever, and that was huge. And that's great because it's basically like having the first part of your guarantee paid for. You can just balloon that, and
yeah.
the bigger the number on the guarantee, the more likely more people will come. So yeah,
And not to overly generalize, but I think the players that you were sending in from cash were, good
well,
good
they're
to have at
cash
the
players,
table.
right? Yeah, they're cash players. They're not tournament
Good to have
players.
at the table.
It'd be like if you gave us free play and told us we had to go buy in deep at a cash game. Most tournament
I
players
would
would not want
I
to do
would get
that
my ass handed to me in I mean, I
in a
was like
deep
a
cash.
cash game player, like full, like a full cash game player, not tournament, and I flipped the other way. But now I have no idea how to play cash games.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then the people who haven't even really done cash before. So it's like, it's great that they did that. It's great. And I think some of those guys do get in cash. They make it pretty far because in the early stages of the tournaments, they can build big stacks. So
Yeah,
I think it's definitely a great way to expose people to the tournament poker too.
yeah.
All right, so let's take a look here. Let's check out, do a preview. So as I think Xander in the chat already noticed, the very first event is a free roll, and this is crazy. We don't have the structure and the details, but I did talk to DJ a little bit last week, and we talked about some of the events they have going on here. And that free roll could be insane. I am pretty
Is
sure
it
there
just
is
like
no
show up and
qualifier.
play?
I'm pretty
What,
sure
are you
it's just
serious?
show up and play.
What
Now,
the heck?
right, and they've been advertising that I believe on ESPN Radio.
And a
So
3 p.m. start?
yeah, yep.
Wow. And this is a
So
one day?
that it's a 1 day, $25,000 added, right? So this is not a 25K
Yeah.
guarantee. So the way this one is going to work, the details I do have is that it's a free roll. I'm pretty sure there's no qualifier, and there are two $100 add-ons you can do. So
I'm
those
always
add-ons
like,
is like 80. It's
yeah.
going to go 80/20 prize pool dealer's fee or something like that. So this prize pool we could. I mean, depending on how nuts people go, like, because once people show up for a free roll, they're all going to do one add-on, right?
Yeah.
And how many people is going to show up, right? So
Yeah.
that's the question. This thing, either they're going to have long wait lists because they're going to underestimate it, and the alternate list is going to be long, or this thing could get up. I wouldn't be surprised to see this
If
thing get
you're
up to 100K.
You're kidding me. I mean, this free roll is gonna get like every daily player in existence, like every casino to come here and play it, plus a whole bunch of other regs. I'm probably gonna avoid this one, but I mean
I
that's
know, right?
it's a fantastic
All the
deal.
little value grinders.
I would maybe I would just go over on Friday so I can just like just see
So
what the chaos looks like.
now, here's the other thing, though. You do need to remember this first weekend. If you notice, this first weekend, Commerce has tended to want to run like their big 50 on the first weekend, multi days. However, um, this is overlapping with the bike. This overlaps with the mini mega weekend. So
Oh,
this Friday is the day 1A. That Saturday, the 4th, is day 1B. Or sorry, 2 is day 2B. And that Sunday is day 2. Day 3. Yeah. So day 2A and day 2B are that Friday and Saturday. So we'll be starting at the bike, but if you bust out from that before 6 and you can get to Commerce, you might as well come over and fire a shot in the free roll,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's right. Um, yeah, I guess it's a nice little backup from busting out of the
Yeah.
bike. So you have this going on too. Yeah,
Yep.
that's interesting. I'm kind of looking at the schedule. So Saturday looks like they have a $300 buy-in. So it looks like it's just some sort of
Yep. There's
kind of
overlap.
placeholder before the big stuff starts happening.
Yeah, and Saturday, I know I'll be doing some traveling. I'll go down to the gardens because Saturday, I believe, is when their WPT
Yeah,
passport satellite is. So that starts
busy
earlier in the
busy
day.
weekend.
So
Yeah,
I'll start there whenever that is, 11 maybe.
yeah,
Playing that. If I bust, get up for the Mini Mega 2B if I haven't bagged.
yeah.
If I bust that, who knows? Maybe I come over here, maybe I don't. Um, and then yeah, Sunday is when the mini mega, like the big poker October, is technically over. It's just mini mega day 3. So Sunday is when the tournaments kind of really get going. Sunday, Commerce is going to have this 50K guarantee, but I tell you what, even Sunday is going to be a crowded day because Sunday we have a $400 50K guarantee here on this schedule, and over at Hollywood Park they also have a 50K guarantee that they're going to run on that Sunday. So you're going to have options that day as well. Now the
This
Hollywood
is
Park
this
one
is
is,
I mean, it's
yeah, it's
awesome.
cheaper. The Hollywood Park one is 360. However, on their big events like this, they play 10-handed. So,
Yeah,
that's a thing.
good PSA.
Yep, that is a thing. Another thing that I noticed about this schedule is that there are a number of mixed events going on here. It looks like there's a mixed
Nice.
event most every weekday. So that's great. All these mixed game players in town this week, you can
Yeah,
just next week, if you stay, the next week, just head on over to Commerce. They're going to run an event on the 6th, on Monday the 6th, and they're going to run it every day, something different mixed event all the way through. Is there, yeah, Saturday, Sunday. So it looks like it's just the weekdays.
yeah.
Glancing at the schedule, looks like they have mixed event even the week after though. So 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, they're going to be doing that. Oh, is that a multiple day? That looks like a multi-day pot limit Omaha tournament. So that's kind of cool. I'm looking at event 15, 15A,
15.
and
Oh
15B
yeah.
pot limit Omaha. So that means there's a day 2 pot limit. So that's a multi-flight pot limit Omaha tournament for 600 entry. Man, that's cool. It's Tuesday and Wednesday, so I can't play, but it sounds really cool. That's
Okay.
something I would be interested in.
I think this is a good time to take advantage of it because there's like a PLO big like thing that's been running at the I forgot where it is.
Is it Hustler?
The PGT is in
Oh,
Vegas. It's like huge.
the major event. Yeah, yeah, the
Yeah,
Poker
that
Go
big
PLO
one. I mean,
series or
that's been
something.
all over Poker
Yep, the
Go, and like
Poker Go
that
series.
day one and day two of the big one was like actually a lot of fun to watch. So right now maybe a good time to capitalize on that. So yeah,
Yeah. So
PLO's kind of
mixed game
going up.
players, yep, come on out. This is going to be a good series for you. You have something to play pretty much every day. Yeah, pretty much every day this series. Now for the Hold'em, the big tournament series, the big ones will start the week after that, and as we said, it's because of that overlap. It's almost certainly because of the overlap with Mini Mega. They can't put anything out that competes with $1 million guarantee, so
Yeah.
they might as well like kind of just put some warm ups out. And it's interesting because I get the impression from the schedules and just kind of from remembering that it used to be that the bike and commerce never overlapped. And it seems like starting from COVID or a little after COVID, the bike has been extending some of their tournament schedule to overlap. I know on Labor Day, I remember on Labor Day, they extended after the schedule came out. They put an extra week on their series to move to move the Mega Millions to Labor Day weekend, which made it overlap with the Commerce's next series at that point. So it seems like the bike is kind of expanding and making their series just a little bit longer all the time and overlapping with the Commerce. So that's kind of interesting. It's kind of awkward for Commerce. It'd be interesting to see how they handle it going forward. I would kind of like to see them compete a little harder with them, but I mean,
Yeah.
like you said, it's hard to compete with a $1 million tournament. So
Yeah, it's definitely tough. And yeah, it was almost like this prisoner's dilemma kind of situation in all the casinos because you're going to start cannibalizing each other really bad, and it's just going to be a race to the bottom. So I guess there's always some sort of gentleman's agreement, right, to not overlap. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't. On one hand, we definitely want competition, right? We want these operators and these casinos like running back to back to back, big tournaments, getting
mhm.
people to go from one to the other. But then as soon as you start overlapping, I think that's when you might start causing a little bit of problems. So we'll see. We'll see how it
Yeah,
plays out.
yep. And I'd hate to see one of them get relegated to a niche that they don't want to be in, because it can
Right.
work out if you have two really different price points, right? I mean, you can run a 10K in a $500 tournament at the same time, no problem. But yeah, it's interesting. Now,
Yeah.
talking about that competition, though, this one other important thing to know about this series is that this LA Poker Open is back in the ballroom. So we will be back up in the ballroom where
Oh,
it's nice,
finally.
back
Nice.
up there where it's nice and spacious and away from the noisy cash tables. DJ said he's working hard to try and get those NFL games on up there. Hopefully he can get them on
Yeah.
the big screens.
I know
Um,
DJ's fighting for us, but honestly, there's been a lot of the tournaments when they're down in the gallery or whatever they called it. It's
yeah,
like technically
Galley.
like it's like the hall. It's like a hallway, right?
Yeah, basically.
So a lot of times it almost made me like not want to go out and play. To be honest with you, so just being back up in the
Yeah.
ballroom is
No,
really nice.
there's
Yeah.
a number of people who've had that sentiment. I think
Yeah.
I think Mike I think Escandiari said he hates that noise. I think
It's very
that
very loud down there. People just pushing stuff
yeah,
around.
a lot
It's
of the
very
yeah, a lot of
cramped,
the
weird
regs
lighting. Yeah.
a lot of the regs I know just say they hate playing down
Yeah.
there, which
I mean, it's
definitely
obviously
hurts.
an upgrade over the tent, but like, yeah, just get us
I mean,
back in the ballroom
honestly,
with the spaces there.
when the weather's nice, it's not an upgrade over the tent. It's just that the tent had really bad weather days, which were just
That's true.
unbearable.
Yeah, it
Absolutely
was like
unbearable.
roasting or freezing.
Yeah, if the climate was good out there, it wasn't like it was fine. I didn't
Yeah.
mind, but there were just a lot of days when the weather wasn't good. And
Yeah.
then the other things that are coming up is that I know that Bally's Big Bet has left the bike. It left the bike months ago, and I actually went and I saw that the site that they are building it up at Commerce. It's going to be moving to Commerce. So
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
Bally's Big Bet is going to Commerce. It's going into kind of where that sports bar was before. So I saw the area all kind of cleared out, and I saw where they're going to put the other
Yeah.
stuff. So that's really cool. And DJ said he's fighting hard to try and convince them or to work into a deal where they can use that during LAPC, maybe for some tournament streaming tables. That'd be
Yeah.
great. And
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah, and you know what? If you're a casket, because I noticed all the construction of the Commerce and the bike, and what I actually see is that all the cash game like floor space is being replaced by table games.
mhm.
So I want to hear from some cash game players like what's going on. Is it just that cash games are dying and now they're just making room for the pie gow tables and stuff, and they're shoving you in the back of the bike? Like what's happening with cash games? And cash game player, let us know what's going on, because I obviously I have no idea.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's very I mean, the place you have to play during construction at the bike, it just feels like they jam the cash games into a broom closet.
Yeah,
It's disgusting.
but then what? But then now when they're bringing stuff back into those areas, they're no longer cash game tables. Right now, you see that they're all like table games. So it's interesting because now it looks like the cash games are not coming back there. Like they like remodeled them, and now it's not for cash games anymore. It's really really interesting. And even the Commerce, it feels like all that middle area is just like dead space. There's not a lot of cash going on. So just really interesting.
Yeah. Oh, we got Frank in the chat, and he's mentioning that Commerce also in the past has given away seats to the tournament to table game players. How incredible would that be if they gave away some
Oh man,
tournament
please
seats
do
to
that.
baccarat players?
Do
That'd
that.
be great.
Well, you know what? I don't know. I have enough variance in my life. Maybe
Well, it's great
baccarat
for the
players
prize
go
pool,
a little
though.
bit too far. Yeah.
And then one other little rumor floating around town here, is that there is a certain tournament series or circuit of some sort out there that's in negotiations with a casino to be coming into town sometime next year. So hopefully we'll get some official announcements on that soon. But
Nice.
another little rumor I heard is that we were kind of talking about how it sucks that it looks like we're getting fewer and fewer WPTs and fewer circuits and et cetera, fewer and fewer World Series circuits and whatnot, and that we wish that someone would pick up. We had the MSPT down in Siquan, right? If some series would come here, sounds like somebody's in talks to get a series coming up here. So hopefully we'll hear
Nice.
about that soon.
Yeah, you have people traveling from all over the place to play WPT and WSOP events, and usually just when I show up, it's just like this electricity in there, and I love playing those events. So yeah, we
Yeah,
really
and
hope that there's some partnerships going on or coming back next year.
And I personally, I really want more chances to win some of those kind
I
of,
know.
sort of national trophies, something that's a little
Yeah,
more.
we're at a disadvantage
know.
trying to rack up our rings.
I know, right? Like it's like great, I got a Remington, but no one outside of LA really knows anymore because, especially
Yeah.
since it's not a WPT.
Yeah.
Ugh. All right, so just to go through the schedule a little bit more, the big events on the schedule, right? That second week of November is the anniversary special. So this year is Commerce's 40th anniversary. I don't know if you knew that. I should have worn the hat. I'll wear it during the series. It's their 40th anniversary. They're sure to be giving away some swag, I'm
Happy
sure. But
anniversary.
that is
Big
this was
milestone. Yeah.
supposed to be a 400K guarantee, but it looks like DJ couldn't get it approved because the idea was $400 buy-in, 40K stacks, and 400K guarantee. It looks like he couldn't convince them to let him do that,
Uh,
but this first one, it still seems pretty solid. $400
yeah,
buy-in.
300K is
Yep,
probably one of the bigger,
for 400.
yeah, I mean, it's one of the bigger guarantees we've seen from the commerce for a while. So I'm glad that they're also picking this up. But you know what? If you're going to throw 25K at a free roll in the beginning, I'm not going to complain about what you're doing with guarantees, right? So good job.
Yeah, and like I just want to reiterate, that's 25K added. That's like they could
Yeah.
easily have made that a 25K guarantee free roll with add-ons and whatnot, and then they probably end up just
Yeah.
making money,
No,
pocketing
they're
it.
just giving you
Yeah, it's no
$25,000.
matter what that prize pool is, they're adding it on.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's what I would love to see more of, honestly. Like, that's the heck
Yeah.
with guarantees. If a casino really want to put their money where their mouth was,
Just
do an
added.
added,
Yeah.
do an added.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's going on all that week. They'll have flights. It looks like they have 8 flights for that. Sunday day two.
Yeah.
They're
Nice.
going to
They
be
also have like the 3 p.m. with the registration closing at 6:30. So this is
yep,
very, working person friendly. And the
exactly.
Saturday flights, day 2 and Sunday, perfect. This is like a perfect schedule, just
Yeah,
like this. Do them all
yeah,
like this.
yeah. I love it. And you know what else I heard is that Fausto may or may not be at. I don't know. Like this might be exaggerating, but he may be at a nice candlelit dinner with DJ this evening as we speak, trying to give him more advice on how to make these things more player friendly. uh, you know, might be a slight dramatization, but we got our man Fausto out there in the streets trying to make things better for us.
Well, just get DJ his favorite bottle of wine. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's great. Yeah, that we love that, and it looks like also they are doing their. Let me just take a look. What day is that? 11. Yep. So they're also doing their. Oh, so on their Sundays, I'm used to the Sunday tournaments at these commerce events being their 360 buy-in, and the guarantees are usually, I think they're usually like 20K, 25K. They're stepping it up. Their Sunday tournament, if you
I
don't
see
make day
that.
two of this double stack, their Sunday tournament is another $400 buy-in, 50K guarantee, and then
Yeah,
the following
I'm really
Sunday, same
happy.
thing.
I think I just been in the back of my mind thinking commerce is just gonna always have just ridiculously, almost insultingly low guarantees, but now it looks like they're picking back up the slack, especially on Sundays too, where I feel like the bike seems allergic, right, to doing like anything crazy on Sundays. They think people aren't gonna come out, but I never was really sure about that, so I'm glad to see that the commerce is
Yeah.
gonna try to pick it up on Sundays.
So we definitely want to see people supporting those. I know, Saturday is better. It sucks to have to be out super late on a Sunday because we are working. However, if you're out super late, you're at the final table. So
Yeah.
we'll suck it
Yeah.
up for one time,
Right.
and
Right.
and I tell you what, I'm okay with chopping at 1
Yeah,
a.m.
go
on a
for a
Sunday.
chop. Go for a chop on a
I'm
Sunday night, because then some people gotta
1
go back
a.m.
to
on
work.
Sunday. Yep,
Yeah.
1 a.m. on Sunday. If I'm there in one of these, I think you'll be able to talk me into a chop, which is unusual, but
Yeah.
that's totally fine. We did our job. It's Sunday. I think that Commerce's schedule here is definitely one of the more rec/worker friendly, normal
Yeah.
guy, normal person friendly schedules, which
Do
is
them all
awesome.
like this, man. Everyone
Absolutely.
clone these schedules. This is perfect.
Absolutely. I think anything under 1500 buy-in, all those tournaments under 1500 buy-in are this. This should be
Yeah.
like this. And the other
Yeah.
thing I really like about this schedule. So, let me just talk about this other weird quirk about it is that they have that second week all the way to more or less throughout the entirety of the schedule, there is a 11 a.m. Hold'em tournament that is only $130, which kind of mirrors their regular dailies. So it's kind of like they're still running their regular dailies. However, there's a little asterisk by them all, so we'll get more details when the structures come out. But it says that this is a Player of the Month series, and I have a feeling because those are the ones with the star, those are the only ones that are going to count. So if you're familiar with the Commerce's regular monthly schedule, you get points for entering and for final tabling and winning, and they accumulate them all month into leaderboard, and the leaderboard gets paid out based on your rank. And I think I saw somewhere that $5 is going to get withheld from all of those. They have a typo here, unless that's supposed to be something funny.
Hold 'em.
Yeah,
I noticed that. Yeah, hold 'em.
M.
I'm pretty sure they've seen. I was gonna say something, but I was like, I'm sure they've seen it already.
Someone will
Yeah.
tell them. Yep. But I think down here at the very bottom, I don't know if I can highlight this. Yes, if you look down here, it says $100 prize pool, $5 for Player of the Month, and 10 for SC and 15 for EF. And honestly, for a $130 tournament,
Yeah,
$30 rake's pretty good. Usually it's a $150 tournament, they'll take $50. So
right. Yeah,
I don't mean commerce, I mean like a place will, right? So it
yeah,
seems not bad. Um,
yeah.
yeah, and then there's that player of the month going on. So that's interesting. That's cool. And but I like to see that all the weekend events, all the later events are a little higher price point. No more. I don't see any 250s on the schedule. Which, nothing against 250s, but I think for a series, I think you should bump it up higher than your dailies, just to make it feel a
Yeah.
little more special, right?
Yeah, to
Or
all the
make it
listeners,
zero. You
yeah,
know.
to all listeners out there, please get out for this one. Back in the ballroom, big guarantees, player friendly like schedule. This is everything that I think a lot, many of us, if not all of us, have been asking for. So kudos to DJ and the Commerce. So come out and support this series. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I think I already know the title of our show for the what day is that going to be for the 7th is going to be back. We're back in the ballroom, baby, or something like
Back
that.
in the ballroom, baby.
Yep. And then the last big event here is, as you talked about, the main. The main is going to have 3 starting flights: Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and it's very interesting. They had the other main, the Hold'em series main had 4 or 5 starting flights. I think four, right?
I don't remember.
It had more. I know it had
It
more than
felt it
three.
felt like it felt like it had more. This feels a little bit
It
closer to
definitely,
that
yeah.
Gardens had like 2 days. Yeah,
It
this
definitely
yeah.
had more, and it had a. I would easily bet that this is going to surpass it. So that event, I believe, had 340 something, maybe
Yeah.
350, around 350 entries. This is definitely going to beat that, I think.
And you know what? Like just even running it on like Mondays and Tuesdays, right? And even like Wednesdays, like so few people come out that like maybe it just makes more sense to just bucket it like this. And then plus, if you have it on Saturday, you're gonna get something bigger than what you would have had just running it on the weekdays anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Just as an example, the 1K that they're running at the bike, the one that Bill is leading after Monday, that
Yeah,
had 32 people that day, and today the
yeah,
flight has 28 people. So
yeah.
I mean
It's not
those
attractive
numbers,
when you have to finish in top 3 or 4 to advance, right? It just kind of
yeah, it
feels
makes it
hard.
kind of
Yeah,
awkward. And
yeah,
it is um they are real numbers, right? That is 70 people that have entered, but
yeah,
at the same time, I mean, is it really like
yeah.
are those really numbers you want? You get 30,
Right.
30, 30, 30. However, but as we said, the Gardens ran Friday, Saturday. They got
Yeah.
140 and
True. Yeah.
240 or something, right? So,
Right.
um, Better Bo is asking how you qualify for the free roll. So they haven't released the details of any of these tournaments yet. So take this, this isn't 100%, but my understanding is there's really no qualifier. You just show up. So there may be an alternate list happening, but the free roll, as far as I know, the details that I know is it's a free roll. You just go, and there's two $100 add-ons you can use. So my guess would be you can't go in more than once because it's a free roll, obviously, but you get those 200 add-ons, so it's kind of get in, gamble it up, get your stacker, bust out, and make room for someone else.
I mean, I'm not gonna play, but I almost just want to go there to see what's gonna happen because it's just like a literal open. Anybody can come and play poker.
Right?
That's
Like
that's
blackjack
awesome.
guy can go up, just
I
go
just
all
would.
in.
I mean, DJ, get a camera crew so we could just like see a video of this or something.
Absolutely. There are a
If you
couple
want,
of vloggers in
I'll come out.
town.
I'll
Send them
come out
out.
and film it and put it on my vlog or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Just go there with the camera. I'll go there and I'll shoot.
Mm,
I'll fire in
It's
some
funny, man.
dark all-ins.
Yeah, I want to see what happens.
Yeah, especially if those add-ons can happen after you bust. I just like dark all in, bust, add on. And also, they will be running mega satellites on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for that main event in the middle of the month next month. So,
Yeah, take a shot at those main events. Play those saddies if they're within your bankroll because getting those to play those main events, number one, are a thrill. Number two, it definitely improves your game, right? Yeah, and it also gives you a shot at prize pools you typically wouldn't get at whatever price point that you're playing in.
yeah, so why don't you just carry on with that thought? Because there's also satellites currently going on for the 1K right now down there at the bike. And I know that you had some thoughts about how to approach once you do win that satellite. So let's say I go down to the bike and I win a seat for the 1.1K that's going on right now. What do you think? Should I approach that tournament differently than than if it were my regular tournament that I play every day when I play?
Yeah, and I think it's a good it's a good conversation to have about what it's like to play at players against higher levels. I know a lot of lower level players or lower buying players tend to be a little bit more afraid, right, of playing the higher stakes because they know they're better players. There's going to be a little bit more pro heavy than they're used to, and they're just kind of happy playing where they play. But if you're playing poker for any extended amount of time, and you plan to keep playing poker, I think always in the back of your mind should be improvement and how do you improve your game. And there is no bigger improvement to your game than shot taking. So obviously, don't be irresponsible with your bankroll. But if you have, can take a couple of shots at satellites to get into some of these main events, whether it's a 1K or a 5K or even a 10K or whatever it is, take those shots. I remember reading some posts about people who won a seat into the main event and decided they would rather just take the 10K, right, and just instead of actually going, so they're trying to like sell their seat. And I feel like that's a mistake. If you got if you basically got a seat into the main event of the World Series of Poker, right, it's going to be like $10 million for first place. Take a shot at it. You don't know what's going to happen. I can guarantee you, even going through a day one, you're going to come out the other side as a better player. But with that being said, I think people might overestimate like how good players are in a 1K. When I sit down at a 1K table, I can tell you most of the time, just like, this is almost no different than when I'm playing a $300 bind in terms of people's like capabilities, right? Like, yes, you're going to most likely run into some tougher players and some people are going to come out and play those 1Ks. But I'm going to tell you right now, the fields are still like relatively soft. And yes, you have like, a bit of a better player pool, but you're still going to end up with like a decently soft field. So you'd be surprised, right? It's not like you sit down at a table and you're automatically the fish. That's really not going to be the case.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely wouldn't go into a 1K being afraid. And if you are a regular at the $300, $400 buy-ins at the series around here, 100% echo that thought. You're gonna see 6 or 7 of the people at the table you're gonna recognize from those same tournaments. I mean, we joked about it before, and he's not the kind of guy we're talking about, but Bill Klein's in there, and he was just playing the 250 the other day. He played that 150K guarantee the other weekend. I think he played it both weekends. So you're going to see a lot of the same people. So if they don't scare you in the $400 buy-in, don't let them scare you in the 1K. That being said, sorry, I was going to say, that being said, what you're talking about, the selling, I'm not sure about for a 1K, but if you were in a 10K, there's nothing wrong with selling a part of it, right? Selling a piece of it, especially if it's something that's huge for your bankroll. That's a good way to mitigate some of the risk and make sure you still get a little bit of something back. Because I think one thing, I agree with you, taking a shot every now and then is vital, and there's no way to kind of leverage up and take a huge shot than a satellite. But I think I've seen this before. The mistake some players make is that they play almost nothing but satellites, and they do almost nothing but take shots. And the problem with a satellite is once you win the satellite, you still haven't won any money. And if you then don't win any money at the other tournament, well, you wasted basically 2, 3, 4 tournaments, depending on how many times you played the satellite. You wasted that many tournaments where you cashed 1.5 times maybe, but you have $0 in your pocket now. So something to be aware of in that way. I wouldn't always make sure you're not always playing tournaments. It'd be my advice. I mean, you're not always playing satellites, but for sure, when there's a good opportunity, if there's something, if you can sell a piece of your action, absolutely.
Yeah, the example I gave was somebody trying to sell his action, but they just didn't want to play. They wanted to just give away the seat, just take the money instead. So, so selling action is obviously something you could do. And you know what? We're talking about $300, $400 buy-in players, but even if you're a $100 like daily player, right, take a shot at these, because I'm going to tell you, just use it as an opportunity to like observe. If you're sitting at a table with some players that you recognize and are good, just watch what they do. Watch their bet sizing when they have showdowns. Watch what hands they're playing from what position. Like, the biggest mistake that I think you can make is if you satellite in, if you're a $100 player, you satellite into a 1K and you're just sitting there on your phone not paying attention right to the action. Like, you should be absorbing every single second. I mean, you should be doing that all the time, right? Anyways, if you're going to go and play a poker tournament, pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention to the action. Pay attention to even when players are doing certain things, so you can pick up something about their betting patterns, right, or the way they're kind of making motions at things. So always pay attention, but especially if you're satelliting into something bigger, take that as an opportunity to learn, right? And then the side benefit is you can actually go and make a lot of money if you can just make a good deep run. But it is the fastest way for you to learn, is just sit there and get like a face to face with some really good players you might not have exposure to typically.
Wayne's talking about he likes to get the experience at 100 to 80 big blinds for the practice, and he thinks it's a bit too turbo at 20 to 40 big blinds. But Wayne, I'm going to disagree a little bit with you there. I'm going to say that tournament players are going to get the most value, and they're going to improve their win rate the most getting that practice at 20 to 30, 20 to 40 big blinds, honestly. I think that like 18 to 30 big blind stack is really where all the money gets made and where you're going to be spending most of your tournament time, to be honest. Because when you get near the bubble, when you get a little past the bubble, when you get near the final table, that's kind of where your stacks tend to be. So that's really, I think, one of the most valuable places to study.
That's an interesting point, Ty. I never thought about it that way, but I'm going to tell you, like, even for me, coming from a cash game background, the thing that took me the longest time to learn was like awkward stack like strategy,
Yep.
like 30, 20 bigs. Like I was just lost forever. I was like, why do I just keep getting my ass handed to me when I get down to 25 BBs? And there's like a very, very specific like way that you have to play so that you're right, actually, and you spend so much time there. Even if it's like a well-structured tournament, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be at average stack, right? So usually you're going to be just clawing your way past 20, 25. Blinds go up, all of a sudden you're at 18, right? So yeah, it's definitely important to pay attention and figure out how to play those stacks.
Yep. So personally, I find it more fun, of course, to play at those bigger stack depths, but especially around here in the cheaper tournaments where, they can't afford to let us play days and days and days. Day twos, you tend to start out, you're lucky if the field's at 40 big blinds average, and by the time you get halfway through the day, you're 20 big blinds average is a good structured tournament for these cheaper tournaments. So that's where you need to learn. I know it feels bad when there's so many situations that just turn into coolers, but you just, that's where you're going to make all your money, in my opinion, especially around in these types of events. And to echo what you said about learning from the other players at your table, I tell you what, the opening event here, I sat next to Sammy, that we already talked about, Sammy Betchahead. I'm sorry about the pronunciation, but and I tell you what, I learned more sitting next to Sammy that day than I probably learned sitting at the tables in months. So it was a pleasure.
Sammy is a good player, tournament beast, and he's just, when we talked last week, right, about adding a little bit spew to your game. It's not that Sammy's spewy, but he's like a pretty aggressive player, right? And
absolutely.
He's going to just get it in there and put you in really, really tough spots. And he's willing to just put a lot of money in, right, on his kind of like gut feel about stuff. So he's actually the prototype of a very, very good player that is probably not going to have like an insanely high cash rate, but he has very, very deep runs all the time. It's almost like every time there's one of those big events, it's like his name is always there, right? Like up there in the top chip stacks, and it's just because of his style of play. So yeah, like you're gonna get like Sammy's he's not gonna show up for like the little like 200, 300 tournaments usually. I think I was surprised to see him there for that one day on a Saturday, but like he's usually gonna be the one that direct buys into a day two, plays like these big megas, right? So yeah, you're gonna get exposure to the Sammys of the world, and you should learn from him.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was definitely a pleasure. Cool. Anything else you wanted to cover for those who are going to satellite in?
Just like don't be afraid. That's it. Just like don't be afraid about like these like your perception that these prize like these bigger like buy-in tournaments you're going to get crushed in or something. Like it's just not the case. There's still a lot of players who are really not that good at poker playing those fields, right? If they're all
don't talk about me like that.
Like nobody go out there and play if it was just completely like pro stuff, right? So just get out there and play. It's not going to be as bad as you think, but when you do get those good players at your table, pay attention to them because it's a huge learning opportunity for you.
Absolutely. So all right, well, I think then it is time for the weekly roundup, so let's get on into that. Before we talk about exactly what's happening next week, just want to remind, I think we mentioned it in passing before, but on November 5th, that Sunday, is when Hollywood Park is going to do their Sunday special for November, and that is that 50K guarantee, which is going to be the same day as the Commerce 50K guarantee. All right, so let's go into our roundup. So this week, I apologize if anybody happened to go down to Lucky Lady last week. I said they were going to do their 20K guarantee again on Sunday because they had run it the 2 previous weeks, and I swear I saw it in Atlas, but it was gone later. So they did not have it, but this week, it's coming back, 20K guarantee on Sunday. So that's a kind of a different event. So on top of their regular schedule, they have that. So on Sunday, if you are not playing in any of the other events around, this is not a bad option. 20K guarantee on Sunday the 29th. In addition to that, this is the last weekend to earn those double points for the Gardens WPT passport thing, as we mentioned, the quasi free roll, right, to win a main event seat and package. So if you,
and I think Ty hasn't been saying it, but that is a $40 million guarantee that you're satelliting into. So let's just make that clear. It's a $40 million guarantee tournament in Vegas in December. Gotta go for that, man.
Yeah, with the package including money for room and
Yeah.
board and to get out there. I'm gonna go. I'm definitely gonna fire and use my. I'm not gonna let that value go. All right. So also for the coming week, let me make that a little bigger. The This weekend, not too exciting at the Hollywood Park, just their regular tournaments. This Sunday, the 29th, there is no tournament because of the Chargers. But I do want to point out next Tuesday, Halloween, they have a 31K guarantee Halloween Monster Bounty Special. So that's a $310 buy-in. It starts at 3:10 p.m. And uh, honestly, I would not. I don't play at Hollywood Park that often, so I don't know how loyal or big their player pool is. But I wouldn't be surprised if that overlaid. I mean, it's a holiday. I know Halloween's not a regular kind of holiday, but it is a holiday. It's a Tuesday. 3 o'clock is a later start time, so that is good. That means you can probably buy in until at least 6:30, if not 7. But 31,000. What does that mean? They're 100, and I'm not sure that they're going to need a decent number of players for that. So if you're not free, if you're not going out for Halloween night and you want to play some poker, they're going to have a 31K guaranteed Monster Bounty Special. They didn't have any structure sheets on the website I could find, so I can't tell you exactly what that means. But that is something to look into, especially if you're into bounties. All right. And then aside from that, we have the larger tournaments for the weekend, of course, which is our, as we've been talking about, the 1K buy-in, the 200K guarantee, which got extended. So its day 2 is on Sunday. That is running this week at the bike. So that is happening with day 1s at 2 p.m. all the way up through Saturday. Oh, we should have told them that. They were really fast about it. They should have put that Saturday day 1 at like noon so that we could end a little earlier and get to sleep. But anyways, at least we have it. At least we have it. Sunday, the day 2 is at noon. Their Sunday tournament is also overlapping. So that also overlaps with the start of the mini mega. So starting that Friday, the 27th, will be the day 1 flights for the mini mega. So that is also something to put on your radar. You can start trying to day 1 and make your way and bag up, get into those. The cheaper flights for those will be at 2 p.m. Every day from Friday through the following Thursday. They will be getting 10% advancing, and that's a $200 buy-in. And then the more expensive one is a $380 buy-in at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m., and those will be 20% advanced to get into the mini mega. And then that is what's happening this weekend there. And then the Commerce will be having its regular dailies last weekend of those before their LA Poker Open starts. And I believe that does it for the LA area. I know where I'll be. I'm going to be down there at the bike getting into this. I think I already mentioned I'll make a quick stop off to... Oh, wait, that's next week. Yeah, so I'll be down at the bike. I'll be firing into that 1K until I make it.
Yeah, I can't wait to play this 1K. I'm so excited about that Saturday. I'll see if I can maybe just show up in late reg on Friday too, just to get a couple of extra, raffle tickets into this thing. But we'll
Exactly.
see how it goes.
Yep, I'm hoping I make it through on Friday. There's nothing like a day off to do something else, play somewhere else,
Yeah.
hang out, just relax. But
Yeah.
I will be there Friday and maybe Saturday if necessary. So, and if you're not there, like I said, we have plenty of other fun events going on. Dailies happening in the area. The Saturday daily at the Gardens is always great value. You can get those points. So,
Yeah, really exciting times right now for tournament poker players. A lot of stuff going on.
all right. Okay, well, that does it for this week. Thank you for joining us. We had a number of folks in the chat. Love it. Thank you for
Yeah,
supporting
thank
us,
you for hanging
guys.
out. Yeah.
Appreciate it. We'll get a couple more people in here, and we're going to need to get that moderator if anybody, just
Gets out of
so that
line.
we can, or just so that we can know who's saying what, just so we can know what's happening. We don't miss any messages. But, yep, thank you, everybody. And, yeah, Wayne says good luck to everyone. I echo that. Everyone, wherever you play this weekend, have a great time. Good luck, and we will see you at the tables.
We will see you at the tables, and please subscribe if you aren't subscribed, because we would love to have more subscribers.
Absolutely.
But we'll see.
Yep.
We'll see you at the tables, and good luck to you.
Spread the word. Hit those subscribe, like, hit that notify if you still have to. We'll see you.